Guys, before we get going, you know what we got to do. We got to give a huge shout out to our Patreon subscribers. Thank you to Tony, Starla, Luke, Jacob, Jeff, Adam, Chuck, Justin, and Brian. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. It means the world to Luke and I. Also, the Discord guys, Discord's hopping. Come over there. Come hang out with us. We got many people in there. Insightful stuff. If you have work questions and you don't feel comfortable going to ask somebody in your building, you can come to our Discord and ask. All right? Because we got lots of very intelligent people in there, even when it comes to contract stuff. So come join the Discord family. But enough about all of that stuff. Guys, this episode, very, very special episode here. Episode 182 about to get underway. We have the principal officer of Local 623 down in Philadelphia joining us, Richard Hooker Jr., 27-year Teamster. Guys, he is looking to get on the ballot to run for general president of the Teamsters later this year. So, guys, great interview. Can't wait for that one. And we're just going to talk about our week a little bit and what's been happening. But we got that. We got the interview on tap. Fuck, this one is jam-packed with a lot of info. Tell you what, after talking to Richard, I am just like ready to fucking run like a marathon at the moment. So here we go, guys. Episode 182. Here we go. We got to this one address. I said, this one goes around back. He went around back, boom, drove off, left them right at the stop.
That was after getting hit by a car.
Wait, you got hit by a car?
I ended up drinking 24 Bud Lights in about 48 minutes. Drunken nomad stumbles out and ready to hit me going 30 miles an hour.
What's up, everybody, and thank you for joining us on this episode of All Into Delivery. This is episode 182. 182, like I said at the top, jam-packed with info. So excited to get into this one with you guys. But first, let's go around the table, shall we? To my co-host, you guys know him down in Warrensburg, Virginia. Come here and let me see ya. Luke, how are you, buddy?
I tell you, man, I just got to remember we're just doing an intro here because we just, I know this is all put together in here, but we just finished up recording with Richard Hooker. Damn, what an interview! But I will say that this week, man, this was a rough one. I cranked in some hours, worked a lot of late nights. Literally saw Willow. I don't think I saw Willow one time this evening. Monday through Friday, she was asleep every night when I got home, and it was a long one. So I'm glad the weekend is here, and I'm glad to not be doing that. But man, yeah, it was just an extension of peak season. Felt like,
yeah. I felt like this week was the time that it actually felt like Christmas finally passed for me, anyways. Like, it was complete opposite for me. Like, you know, except for one day, stop count was a little high and I had to help her. But, like, man, like, it was like, this is nice again being, like, don't get me wrong. I loved my helper that I had when I finally settled on one. Loved him. Like, dude was a great worker and such a cool kid. So, love that. But, you know, it's always nice to get back out there alone and just do it yourself. And, you know, you yourself and you or something out there on the truck. But
yeah, I mean, you do it that way for 11 months out of the year. You're just used to it. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. Plus, man, I feel like I gained weight on the month of December, dude. Just I had a helper almost every day. Like I was barely walking. You know, when I could, I would, but like, man, I feel like I got fat over the month of December.
You were just getting the air let out of your tires, man. Just it was metaphorically saying, but you know, your one Russian helper wanted to do that. but
Yeah, that's cool.
we've already told that story. But man,
But yeah,
nah, it was. I mean, I think that it's going to drop off this week. I'm hoping, but I'd say Christmas is past. I'm glad this one was, like I said, I'm just glad it was behind us. No matter what, I will say this, because the fact that it's already the following January 2025, I think was the worst, shittiest month straight that I ever worked for 1 month span. And dude, the fact, I mean, that's like, it couldn't get much worse. And so it's not, it could, sorry, let me rephrase that. It could always be worse. That's what I meant to say. Sorry.
I'm still jacked up after recording for Richard Hooker's interview that I just can't wait to share it with you guys. So,
yeah, for real.
I mean, I'm ready to jump right into the interview. You?
Same. Absolutely.
Here it is. Richard Hooker Jr., everybody. Guys, our guest today, we got a very special guest joining us all the way from Philly, from Local 623. This is his 27th year as a Teamster. He is the principal officer as well for his local. Guys, please welcome to the show, Richard Hooker. Richard, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. Happy New Year to everybody, and thanks for having me.
Dude, thank you, brother. Happy New Year to you guys
Happy New Year
as well.
as well. And like we said right before we recorded, this week has been a long one across the board. It seems like that every center, it's been some of that peak volume, maybe gift cards and returns. I don't know, but it was stop count was pretty high this week. So I'm glad to be I'm glad the weekend's here, and I'm glad to be doing this. But
yes, sir. Yes. So, Richard, like we love to do here on our show, please take us back, man. Take us back to growing up, all of that good stuff.
Okay, so I'm originally from North Carolina. I was born in a very small town called Belhaven, North Carolina. It has 2 stoplights. Very, very small town. My mother and father was born there. My whole family is in North Carolina. So my father was in the military, and so he was stationed in a lot of places, Germany, Georgia. I mean, he went everywhere. And so when we went off to live with him in Germany, unfortunately, my mother died on Thanksgiving Day in 1984. I was 5 years old. And so I had to go live with my grandmother in that small town of Belhaven. And so when my father came back to the States 2 to 3 years later, we moved to Fayetteville. And anybody that knows Fayetteville, you know the Army base there is Fort Bragg. And so I'm an Army brat. My father was 82nd Airborne. He retired as a sergeant first class, was in the Army for over 21 some odd years. He's also a pastor preacher. So I grew up with a background of just sacrifice due to his service, his military service, and also a definite, emphasis on spirituality and morality and good character and integrity. Now that doesn't mean I'm a perfect person, but that's how I grew up, around that kind of environment. And so went to college, transferred up here to Drexel University here in Philadelphia. That was his job. UPS was hiring because I needed some money to pay for school. And they had this, program where they can help you do that. And so I started working there, coming from a right-to-work state. Didn't know anything about unions, didn't even know what a union was. And so I learned very quickly about the union because UPS, as everybody knows, they will try to fire you very quickly. This is the only job I know that will spend 30 days to train you in the next 30 years trying to fire you. I don't understand that. But that's what they do. And not knowing anything about the union and not really being educated in the union, I wasn't in trouble a lot, but I had a lot of questions because I couldn't understand why all these things were happening. If a supervisor isn't supposed to work, why are they working? If they're not supposed to violate the contract, how they're still violating and getting away with it.
Mm.
Again, didn't
Mhm.
understand that. So I was a part-timer for about 7 years, started in 99. So 2007, I went full-time and became a shop steward, an alternate shop steward. So the elected steward, he said he saw something in me. Again, I didn't see it. I was just coming to work, but I didn't like the way how my coworkers were being treated. That always
Mm.
been a stickler for me. I don't like bullies. Don't like people who believe just because of their privilege or their title, whatever the
Mm.
case may be. I just don't like when people believe that they're better than somebody else. When God made us, he made us equal, not you're superior to me or whatever. And
Mm.
so, got in the union, started learning about the contract. 2007, the elected steward, he retired. Then I became the official elected steward. Then around 2013, 2014, there was a contract where I believe that was a good contract. I believed our leaders at that point because growing up, leadership, you trusted them no matter what. Because I saw my father, his leadership, been in the army, the people we hung around, the church, leadership growing up, you could trust your leaders. So I didn't know the politics of the Teamsters until around 2013, 2014, and how different leadership is and was. So we come to find out the leaders did a lot of things just to remain in office. And again, I didn't know any better.
Mm.
So around 2014 is when we started noticing certain things about the politics in the union and how UPS was exploiting that. Because when you're divided around politics, employers and anybody takes advantage of that. And that's what was
Right.
happening. So 2014, we decided to maybe break away from the leadership and do something different because of what happened in the 2013 contract. Again, I believe them and come to find out, was dead wrong about that. Had to do a lot of apologizing to a lot of people because, again, I believed in our leaders. That's why I'm so against blind loyalty right now, because if you just follow somebody just because they're a leader, then you could be putting yourself and your members in a bad spot, which we did. So
Mhm.
2015, we decided to run for office, a local and at the delegate convention, which was happening the following year in 2016. And I remember asking my leadership at the time, after what happened in the 2013 contract, I went to the hall and I believed that our relationship was good enough that we could speak and find out what happened, because
Mm.
what they told us was something totally different than what the contract gave us. Went to the hall. I'll never forget this conversation. I asked them, what can we do to fix this situation between the members and the leaders? Our members are not happy. UPS is continuing to do what they want to do. You said certain things were not going to happen in this contract. It ended up happening. How can we fix it? And I'll never forget what they told me. They told me, well, you need to go back, tell the members, stop crying, pull their pants up. When I heard that from my leadership, something in me broke.
Mm.
And I just couldn't believe it because I trusted them. I believed in them. And for them
Mm.
to say that to me as a steward, somebody who supported them, it hurt. So I
Mm.
knew
Right.
right then and there that things needed to change. I went back to the members, told them what they said. And, I caught a lot of heat from that because my members said, hey, Hooker, we told you that they couldn't be trusted. And I didn't want to believe it. So
Yeah.
we put this thing together in our local called 623 Lives Matter. That was the name of our slate at the time. So we ran for a delegate election. Our leaders didn't even run. They didn't even run to challenge Hoffa because what they told us, they were going to protest in silence. That's what they told the membership. So we ran, we won, and we went to the convention, and you would think that we were the enemies. You would think
Mm.
that we were the employer because all the boos, the disrespect, just the vile language, talking to our sisters in a way that they wouldn't talk to them out on the street. I mean, it was so disrespectful,
Mm.
and I couldn't believe it. These are the people who we're paying our dues money to, and they're treating us like we are second-class citizens, and we don't have a voice. And so, again, my eyes were open even further to the politics of the Teamsters. The Teamsters
Yeah.
don't really care. I'm talking about the officials. Not all of them, but a majority of them do not care about their members. All they care about is the title, the position, and the money.
Mm.
And I found it out the hard way. And it was crazy because we're supposed to be brothers and sisters, and this is the way we're treating each other. I can never understand that. So
Yeah.
in 2016, that happened. And so we decided also to run for local office. And I knew race was going to be an issue because there has never been, up to that point, a African American to lead the local. And so that's why we kind of had the name of 623 Lives Matter, because we can't run from the fact that I'm African American. There's nothing I can do to change my color. If you have a problem with my race and not the employer getting over on you, if you have a problem with my race and the fact that our leadership is not doing nothing for you, then we have a serious and a bigger problem than my race. And so we just got it
Right.
out there, listen, God made me this way. There's nothing I can do about that. If you got a problem,
That's
you got to
right.
take it up with him, not me. I'm here because we are getting the short end of the stick here. We don't know what's going on in our contracts, and we need to change that. My race is not the reason why we keep losing.
Mm.
My race is not the reason why employers are dominating us. My race is not the reason why our officials are not fighting. So we end up losing that election by 37 slate votes.
Oh,
Wow.
And yes, but that's when I knew that if we kept to it, we were going to win the next time.
yep.
See, that's
And that's what we did. So yeah. And it had 3 slates that would run at that time as well.
because that's close to where
Yeah.
So I don't want
That's
to
the
talk too
thing when
much.
they would
If
vote.
I'm talking
No,
too
no,
much,
no,
I'll let
no,
me know.
no, you absolutely the floor is yours. But to interject for saying, I was just going to say that it was like you could tell with a 37 vote that you definitely swayed. Rather, they would say it out loud when they voted. You had people that were agreeing. So I would think, and I kept thinking of how it ended in the 2018 contract, his last one. And people supported it. We could get to that, but no, the floor is yours, mate.
So and it was 3. It was also 3 slates that ran. So, but when you added all up the slate totals, there were more votes that were cast against the people that were in office than for them. When you add our slate and the other opposition slate, there were more votes. So when you look at that, that tells you that the members did want new leadership, but the way the votes fell, they were able to get back in office. Now, we did take a seat from them, but you can tell that the members wanted something different, but the way the votes fell.
Right.
And so we just stayed at it. One of the things that we did was we changed our bylaws the next go around because we didn't have rank and file representation at the negotiating table. And so our leaders would tell us whatever they wanted to tell us, and we didn't know anything about the contract. So what we did was we organized our members around more transparency. And I hate that word now, and later on I'll tell you why. But at that time, we focused on transparency, making sure that our members knew everything that was going on in negotiations. So what we did in our bylaws, you only need 7 signatures to change the bylaws. That's all you need. So what we ended up doing, we ended up getting 70 sheets with about 30 or 40 signatures on each sheet at that meeting. And I read that change we wanted, and I presented that to our leadership at the first meeting of 2019. That's when they knew that they were done in the next election, because we packed the hall. It was standing room only. I got way more than the 7 signatures, and they knew they were done. And it wasn't about us winning. It was about transparency, making sure our members had a voice at the negotiating table. Had nothing to do with us, had nothing to do with them. It was about giving our members more power. And that's what we were able to do. And so that later that year, of course, there was another election. Race was a big issue, so we had to do certain things so people can focus not on the race, but the policy. So there was a stereotype that they were saying that, oh, Hooker, he's not smart enough. He's going to burn through the money. All they want is money because, the salary you were going to get as being an officer. And so there was this whole thing about black folks only want money, cars, and women, and all this stuff. So what we did, we told people, for our first 3 years, we're going to take a pay cut, all 3 years. Not only that, we were going to give back the leased vehicles. We don't want the car. We got our own cars. And this whole, where they want money, where they want women. I'm married, been married for a long time, ain't got time to be chasing women. That's disrespectful to our marriage, to my home, to my family. We ain't got to worry about that. So we took everything that we could from the stereotypes away from people, focus on our policy, what we wanted to do. And we ended up winning. It wasn't even close. There were 4 slates that ran this time, beat them all, got elected, made history. And that was 2019. We took office in 2020. COVID happened 3 months later. Had our first contract negotiations with one of our other crafts, had to get through that. We got through it. In 2022, we were up for re-election, won again. And then this past in 2025 October, for the first time in history again, the incumbent didn't have any opposition. So for the first time in the history of my local, we ran unopposed. And that's something that never happened in our local because we transformed our local. We created a whole lot of committees for our people to get involved in. We negotiated some very, very strong language in all of our contracts. We were open, honest, and accountable in every which way you think possible. And here we are now.
Right.
We want to take that to the next level. So that was a quick, condensed backdrop of how we got here.
Dude, I want to run through a wall right now. You got me so amped up.
Dude,
that's an amazing story.
Just to,
it's an amazing story.
Because it's true. I'll tell you the thing with the podcast that we've done it for, the people, especially because we started during COVID. So, as I was saying earlier, like when we can get people on, back then when we had started, like nobody was doing anything. So we had, I think 6 weeks in advance, I always said, it was like we had drivers talking to people from all over. And I didn't realize, I've always said my local is solid, but stories that I've heard just throughout, just the network that we have, it's sad when you see, like, when you people, especially because like people, you have no trust if you're locally, if if you're going to file a 9-5 grievance and it's going to get tossed away or slid under the desk, so to speak, quote unquote, you know what I mean? And then like nothing gets done, you don't, or whatever. It doesn't have to be a 9-5, just that I'm just using that as an example, but when you have people in leadership that are looking out for, like, I don't want to say the little man, but like the workers, the people that are doing everything and they're invested in that, and you're saying you would take a pay cut, not having the lease car as a an almost 19-year Teamster now. I mean, for me, yeah, that would, we cuss a lot on here, at least I do. I mean, that would fire me the fuck up, man, and I would be so excited. But yeah, that is kind of. To go back though to the 2018 contract with the last one that when Hoffa, right before he got out, I was really turned off at that time with that, voting, because it was a percentage thing, they said, right? It was like 48% or some, where they overturned it. And I always, that always that pissed me off, and I was really kind of like, well, I didn't. I don't want to say. I mean, I didn't completely lose faith because I grew up around a lot of union company shit. You know, being from where I'm from, like I didn't really know the inner workings of unions, but just being in a place, you know, where like coal mines and company, you know, unions, UMWA to the company people. I saw my whole life as a kid, you know, strikes and people not. So I knew kind of what things were, but I had no, you know, I didn't know the inner workings of it either when I had started. But I, I was pretty, I'm still pretty naive, I would say, but just a lot more, you know, just with the network we have and now having, you know, I think we've never had anybody I, we haven't, right, Dave? There's been nobody we've ever, like, anybody
No.
that's actually,
No.
you know, in right now.
No, I think we
running,
only
like,
had one shop steward on
in charge of a
too
local and
before
going to
this.
be, you know, possibly
Yeah.
maybe on the, you know, maybe on the back. I don't. What that's at the convention. I don't really want to get into all that because I don't know a lot
Yeah.
about it. But somebody to
Yeah.
possibly be on the ballot to be the next president of it of the Teamsters is. I mean, just everything that you just said. That alone, aside just from, I think that just speaks to who you are and as somebody that's, you know, that's like I said, been an almost 19-year Teamster, man. I think that goes a long way just in itself without even getting into anything, you know, like we said, we had some questions and stuff for you. And, but just that alone, yeah, I'm, I'm just, yeah, like Dave said, man, I'm ready to,
Yeah, and
I'm excited.
I appreciate that.
and I mean, again, too, right? You said 2020 was when you guys, or 2019 is when you guys took office.
So we got elected in 2019, and we took
Yep.
office in January 1 of 2020.
Right, and then literally 3 months later,
COVID happened. Yeah.
And so, like, how that had to have been an experience. You guys get in there, everyone's
That was
fucking fired up, and then, bam,
that was crazy
the world
because
stops. Yeah,
up until that point, we've never, you know, negotiated a contract,
Right.
never been to panel. There was a lot of training that we had set up. There was a lot of people that we needed to meet, you know, and all of that stopped.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so, you know, what do you do? Like I said, our first contract that we had to negotiate was a Greyhound contract, and during the pandemic, nobody was traveling. So of
Right.
course, you know, the company was crying broke because nobody was traveling. Hey, we losing money. And I'll never forget those members, they were concerned because they knew that the company didn't have money and they were going to try to cry broke. And how can you argue that they aren't losing money? Because I'm looking at the operation and there's no buses. Nobody's traveling. Nobody's doing anything. And so that first contract we negotiated, we had to focus just on language to protect our members from, you know, as much as we could about job protection, safety, and health because of COVID. Get little money as we can. So we had to put a wage reopener into the contract so when things picked up, we could go back to the table and get them some money. But I'll never forget the company. They tried to play us for fools. Oh man, they don't know what they're doing. You know, these guys just coming in. All they know is UPS. They don't know anything about Greyhound. But we had to show them that just because we don't know anything about Greyhound, the operation, doesn't mean we don't know what employers do.
Right.
All employers are the same. Every last one of them. They tick the same. They operate the same. They may have different industry, but it's always the same. Their function is to dominate their workers and get what they can without any pushback, whether it's a union or not. And so I'll never forget, they wanted to just not negotiate at all. Well, we don't have to. COVID is here. I mean, they were giving us all kind of excuses. And so what we did was, okay, if this is the position that you're going to take, then we're not going to show up for work. And so you're going to have people show up to go somewhere, but you're not going to have any ticket agents or anybody responsible for the baggage. So I don't know what you guys going to do. So what we did was we had just a job action, and the members there never had one. So they didn't really know what to do. So we had the big fat rat come out. We had other unions come out, politicians. And so the company was like, oh my God, what is this? What's happening? I mean, people were like, no, we ain't buying no tickets. We ain't doing nothing. We standing out here with y'all. Boom, 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 boom. And that was on a Friday. That Sunday, I got a phone call. Hey, we saw, because they put it in the paper. Hey, we read the papers. We want to get back to the table Monday morning so we can get this thing to bed. All right, no problem. And I'll never forget what one of the shop stewards asked me. She asked me, what made you do that? We never seen that before. I told her that if you want to get the respect from the employer, you have to show them that you're willing to do whatever it takes to get your members the best possible contract. They thought we were naive. They thought we didn't know what we were doing. They thought all kind of stuff, but we had to show them that we just didn't come to play. We came to fight and we came to win. And that's what ended up happening.
It's amazing.
It's
amazing.
It was, so this was always kind of a story I'd laughed at with us, because we were obviously with UPS. That was the booming time when they were making. I'll never forget my center manager, but it was like probably a month in. We were probably about in maybe April, May. And I remember he came in like before a PCM, and he just was like, he said, guys, if you're on the 9-5 list, just file grievances and we'll pay them. And and there's just that's just the way it's going to be for a little while. And I don't know. It felt like 2 months, man. It was wild. COVID was a wild time in the delivery industry,
yes, it was.
man. So yeah, to start with that, of all things, I couldn't even. That was such a bizarre time.
Yeah, but we also wanted to make sure that we took care of our members outside of just their work, because we knew a lot of our members were going to lose. Because our members are at UPS are primarily part-time.
Yes.
It's almost like we probably have in our local at UPS, about 2/3 of our members ship at UPS as part-time. And so during COVID, a lot of our part-timers have second or third jobs, and they were closing down during COVID.
Right.
So just because they don't work, at UPS during those hours, don't mean they stop being union members. So what we did was we set up a food bank at the hall so they can come down, get food, get diapers, get clothes, whatever they needed during that time, so they can still put food on the table. Because regardless if you lose your other job, like again, you're still a union member, and it's our job to take care of our people as much as we can. And so we were able to do that during COVID, because who wants to struggle and not be able to put food on the table during a time like that? And we felt honored to be able to do that. And our members appreciated that, because they were able to come down, get whatever they needed to take care of their families. And that's, again, I believe that's really what the Teamsters should be doing more of, kind of organizing more of our members internally, not just externally, into a more communal, family, camaraderie type situation. Because people need to know, when I clock out, I'm still a part of this local. When I clock in, I'm part of the local, right? We got to build that, because I think a lot of this divisiveness comes from the fact that they believe that you're only a union member from 9 to 5, and that's not the case.
That I worked part-time for 6 years. Would have second jobs to do. I delivered appliances for Sears, did some other stuff. But yeah, that is true. That's if I would have been during my part-time years, I know that'd have been greatly appreciated, because that's true. I'd been removed of it for a while by 2020, so to think about it as a part-timer, though, that would be tough. And that was like, and I think that was the thing that that was kind of the most heartbreaking of it all, is seeing businesses close down and not be able to reopen, that shut down, that, just never recovered and things like that. A lot of them bounce back, but I've been on the same route now for a while. Right before I was a cover driver until 2020. COVID was when I finally took a bid route, right before it. And I covered like 2 years later in my old area for a Saturday or something. I can't remember. And it was weird. It was like I was in a completely different, things that got shut down and rebuilt. And it was, yeah, it was wild times, but anyways,
Crazy times.
I tend to ramble, so I'll stop myself.
So let's get into a couple questions.
Okay.
Unless you have anything else you want to add on.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Cool. So this one is this one's basically just a general question, I guess, if you will. This one's almost all these will be sent. Not all of them, but anyways, this one is what do you see currently ignored by the current administration that you would focus on, and how would you go about changing it?
I think one of the biggest things that the leadership ignores is the fact that there needs to be more of a an education platform, not just about politics or things like that. They need to know their union rights. They need to know about their contract, because you will have people been here 30, 40 years and still don't know how to file a grievance or what a grievance looks like or anything like that. I think we need to do a better job of educating our members on the empowerment that their contract gives them. If you don't enforce it, then you really don't have nothing but a sheet of paper. I think we need to really educate them on how to use that contract as a weapon and not just a shield for defense. I think we need to focus more on that. And I don't mean just coming up, having classes, I'm talking about actual training where you bring people down and you have panels and we talk about it. You have real life situations where people can act out these things, because that's what we do in 623 when we do our training. It's not just the board talking. It's not just the shop stewards talking at people. We really put on display and give our members more of a chance to interact with how the grievance process works. We actually have a grievance committee that's made up of rank and file members, no shop stewards, no BAs, but rank and file people who know how to file agreements. Because what I discovered is they know I'm going to talk about fighting and filing a contract, but they don't look at me as a person who is in the truck next to them or unloaded next to them. So when they talk to people who work next to them, their relationship, it gets them more involved in the educational experience of how to file agreements, when to file agreements. Is it a grievance or is it a gripe? Those things I think we need to do a better job at. And also, we are going to have to talk to our members about the politics of the union and why it's important to vote. Because if you don't vote in a high clip for your leadership, you're sending a message to the employer.
Right.
That, hey, if they don't care about the people representing them, they're not going to care about what we do to them. And we have to do a better job. And that's going to be tough, because I think at the last international election, less than 190,000 people voted out of 1.3 million members. That's crazy. And a lot of locals, and mine included, we don't have a high percentage of people participating in the voting. That's a big problem. Because we can complain all we want to, but what are we doing? Are we voting? Right. Because it's not just for your leadership. It's also to send a message to the employer that if you come for us, we're going to come for you. And we're going to bring all the smoke with us. But we got to get back into telling people it's important to vote, just as it is important to the people you voting for to put in office. We can't be afraid of our members either. You can't.
Right.
They elected us to lead. There's gonna be some tough conversations. They're gonna be doing some yelling and cussing and fussing, but all families do that. All families do that. But at the end of it, after they done cussed you out, after you done got mad at them, you need to make sure that your message is still about empowering them, giving them the tools that they need, creating spaces for them to be their authentic self, and making sure we win against these employers. Because if not, we're still going to be dominated at the end of the day. And that's the biggest problem that I'm having. We should not be getting pushed around when we send all this money to the international. That makes no sense to me.
Right.
Mm.
I didn't. So that
Love
was
that.
only. I didn't realize it was. I didn't realize it was only 190,000 that voted. Damn. I did not realize that. I knew it wasn't. We were really pushing that at that time on here too, because, to go back to, the last contract to Hoffa, I told everybody here at my building, I was like, we got to, make sure you, make sure you vote. Don't let the excuse be, I did not realize it was that low. So
Yeah.
That's crazy. Another one is let's say you get on the ballot, you win. General President of the Teamsters. This question says, what will be your main focus if you become General President?
My main focus would be empowering our members and bringing us together, because there is a big divide. I mean, and everybody sees it. We're divided on every single thing, and it drives me crazy. And I know politics in itself is already divisive.
right.
You want your person to win. I get that. I understand that. But the one thing that should be a uniting factor is that my building is closing. It's hard to live. Things are more expensive. It's harder to live. Shifts are closing. Not just in UPS, freight, and here's the other thing. It's going to be hard to organize workers if every worker is being laid off
Right.
in the working class.
Right.
If you look at what's going on, and I saw this thing in Alabama, it's not just UPS workers getting laid off. It's a whole entire group of people from every industry getting laid off. And it's happening everywhere. So we got to stop focusing on Democrat, Republican, Black, white, independent, trans, LGBTQ+. We got to focus on how do we stop our employers from dominating our members. And that's what I'm going to be focused on. If you voted for Trump, God bless you. If you voted for Kamala, God bless you. If you didn't vote at all, you better vote, but still, God bless you. If you're Black, God bless you. White, I don't care. How can we stop the Carol Tomays, the Jeff Bezos, the Walton family, all these powerful CEOs from dominating the working class? We have to figure that out. And the only way we do that is by building power from our rank and file ranks. Not going to be Hooker, not going to be O'Brien. It's going to be the rank and file. But we got to get them to see that. We got to start talking to them about how powerful they are. I tell my members every single meeting, they'll tell you, before I sit down and close the meeting, I always tell them, the 7 people up here on this stage have 0 power. The people out in the audience is where the power is. If you guys don't use your power, then we're just representing ourselves. We need to represent what you give us. And that's going to be my message to the members. It's time out for a whole lot of knick-knack, paddywhack, I don't like you, blah, blah, blah. That's not going to help anybody. There's real life kitchen table issues that families, husbands, wives, kids are concerned about. They want to make sure that their neighborhood is safe. How is the union helping me do that? My building is closing. How are we going to figure this out so I can still put food on the table? My shift is closing. I got split shifts. That's tearing my family apart. How are we going to fix that? These are the things that we need to be focused on so we can help our members. And again, I come from the same places our members come from. I've been in UPS for 27 years. I've been in the truck. I've been in the warehouse. I loaded. I've done everything. everything our members go through, I go through. And,
Yep.
and when I tell people that when you see yourself, you see me. When I see myself, I see you, because we're all on the same side. We all doing the same thing. And so that's going to be my biggest issue is going to be putting everybody together and the leadership too, because I'm quite sure the leaders are not going to be happy that, there's a new leader and things about this intimidation and retaliation that been getting away with. That's not going to happen, because members don't want to be involved because they get retaliated against. They get harassed. If we do it in our union, then stop getting mad when UPS do it. If you accept it from your union, stop complaining about it when UPS do it.
Right.
If you want to stop UPS from doing it, stop it in your union. Stop it in your union.
Well said. Well said. That is so true, though. I mean, to the whole, I mean, it is to the point, like, and I think for all the locals, for a union as a core, to like just that's the best way to look at it, is to be united because of all the things in society that's set up to make us divided and make us argue everything. So to start to show it, that also, that doesn't only, I mean, that obviously helps the members, but that shows the world, that shows the country, that shows people that it's possible, that it can be done. And that's, I mean, I'm not going to go, but that's exactly what the establishment doesn't want. So that can at least be showed that it can be done. And if it would be done, it would, I like that. That is, I want that so bad, just with so I
did it in my local. And let me give you, and the people that's going to listen, it works because I did it here. So when we got elected, I think within 48 hours, I called one of the candidates that ran with the incumbents. I said, hey, listen, I want you to stick around and I want you to come work with me as we fight the employer. And when people found out that I did that, they were like, yo, he ran against you guys. What are you doing? You can't do that. I said, that brother there, he works very, very hard. I seen it. The members he represented as a BA, they love him. And the craft that he comes out of, I don't have experience in. So why not get somebody who the members respect, the employer hates, and I don't have experience in? I don't care about he ran against me. I'm here to do a job, and that's protect and fight for my members. You guys should have seen it, man. My members beat me up. I mean, it was crazy. And I said, even the president of my local, my number one man, he put me to the side and he was like, yo, man, you think that's a good idea? I said, absolutely. You got to trust me. If you voted for me, you got to trust me. And that was one of the best decisions that I ever made, because I know that brother's work. I know it's hard. I don't care. I don't care about people's politics. Right. How can we stop the enemy that's over there dominating our people? If you can help me do that, I don't care where you come from, who you are, what you did. We need to stop these people from taking our members out. And I know this brother was going to help me do that. And 6 months later, I ended up hiring another person who ran on another slate, because I know the work that he did and what he brings to the table. And, oh man, how can you do that? But because of making those decisions, we transformed our local. And sometimes you got to make tough decisions, not political decisions, but decisions that's best for the Teamsters and their broader working class. And that's how we were able to transform our local.
Well,
that's awesome.
If just that it can be done, it can be a local, it can be the whole spectrum.
There you go.
The whole country, man. Oh shit! How many more? What? I don't want to. I don't want to keep. I'll let Dave. Yeah,
I
go
got.
ahead, man.
There's a few
Okay,
more.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. There's a few more, but all these are amazing answers. Where do we got here? Oh, roadie SSDs. Where do you stand with those?
I'm frustrated because we were told throughout the campaign that PVDs were a strike issue. We were told that from day one.
Mm-hmm.
All they did was change the letters around, and it's the same thing,
Right.
and we didn't go on strike. And that's the issue that I have with this whole system of leadership within the IBT. It started before O'Brien. It did, and that's why a lot of times I try my best not to talk about him because he's not, and this is gonna sound crazy, he's not the issue. It's the system that's the issue. Now he's benefited from the system, along with Hoffa and others, but that's why we have to have a transformational change and not this reform. Throw reform out the window. We have to have a straight up transformational change. Because if not, you could put me there, but if you don't change the system,
It's more the
nothing
same.
changes.
Right.
We got to change the entire system of leadership in this organization. It's been the same. Hoffa he did it. O'Brien is doing it, and it's not going to change until you change the entire system. So what I mean by that is you get a leader, talks tough, says all the right things, people get riled up, ready to go, boom, 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 boom. Nothing happens, and then you start losing participation because we've heard this before. You said you were different from Hoffa. Well, Hoffa did the same thing. Now you're doing it, and it's the same outcome. So we got to change the system. So if you're going to say you're going to strike over something, you got to do it. You say you're going to do it. So now when we get in there, we're going to have to mean what we say. If you don't get rid of PVDs, SSDs, we're going to hit the street because you're taking our work. Roadie is a whole nother problem. It may be, in my opinion, worse than the 224s. 224s were bad.
They were.
But at least it was our work and our members were doing the work.
Right.
Now, it was jacked up. People weren't getting paid properly and they were taking advantage of it, but it was our work. Roadie, man, these folks are just coming in, taking our work. People being laid off, people not working, but they're taking our work. Why isn't something done about that?
Right.
This is bigger than a grievance. This is way bigger than a grievance. So we're going to have to mean what we say. Now I hear people saying that they should organize Roadie, but I don't think that really gives us what we need. We need to get rid of Roadie, and that work needs to be put back in our system, back on our trucks, back in our warehouses, having our members do that work. And if you're going to say that we're going to strike over something, you got to do it. And that's where Roadie is. And you can't blame Hoffa for this one because they came in, 2021, 2022?
Yep.
He was the man. He's been the man for the last, 4 or 5 years. You can't blame Hoffa on this one.
No.
This happened under him. Exactly. Yep. And they knew about it in negotiations and it didn't do anything. And that's why open bargaining is so important. Because leaders, we don't know everything. We don't. The people who do this work day to day, they have the most power in this situation because they live it. They see what's happening. So if negotiations were truly open, then somebody could have caught that and said, hey, ho, this is what the company is trying to do with this, and we need to take a stand. We need to fix it before it happens. So I know we haven't gotten to the open bargaining part, but that open and bargaining could eliminate some of these loopholes and some of these protections that we don't have. That could eliminate all this stuff because people would be there with all these extra set of eyes and experience that most leaders don't have. Because O'Brien, he didn't come from UPS.
Right.
He never loaded a truck or sorted packages, right? He came from another industry. So he doesn't know the job. Now, he may have people around him that did that, but a lot of those people, and I know some rank and file people were there, No shade on them. But I think when you have somebody who's negotiating a contract, they should at least have some type of experience doing the job themselves and not have somebody else do it, you know? And I think moving forward, you're going to have people who have done the job and open bargaining. Roadie, the SSDs, that stuff has to go. And if we're allowed to be in that position by 2028, we're going to do everything we can with the member support and members' help to get rid of those things because it's taking their jobs. We don't survive without the members. We don't. So if we got something taking their jobs, we're not going to survive.
Thinking about it now.
So
I gotta say this real quick, just to say because it's true to say the difference with, and Dave, you'll agree because we've been doing this. We saw it like with like you said with the PVDs and SSDs. They were way louder, this current administration with the last contract, about striking and taking it to the streets than Hoffa was. Way louder because of COVID and everything, of profits. You know, obviously I don't have to go, you know, we all know with that. And we had saw that, you know, we had heard it, nothing happened. Then like with the Linux cameras, that was another thing they had said. Heard it, didn't happen. So we were both sitting.
That was
Dave
on here
and I
too.
were sitting there, like thinking to ourselves, like, well, you know, they were pretty loud about it. There's two things that we know they said, like that wasn't misconstrued. That was, you know, we heard that. So, yeah, I just wanted to make sure I put that. Yeah, that definitely was on this with O'Brien and them. So I will definitely. I wanted to make sure to say that. So that. But yeah, sorry, Dave. I just want.
Yeah, it was. You know, I mean, I'm pretty sure you can probably put all of those under the same bubble or in the same bubble is PVDs or SSDs, Roadie, the cameras inside the package cars, and even all the way down to air conditioning being in the package cars. Yeah. Like I feel like all those probably get moved to like the same bubble. Is like we hear so much that we're going to do so much about these things. But we still have cameras in package cars. The Roadies and SSDs are still here. We still really aren't seeing air-conditioned package cars anywhere. And there was a rumor that there was 1,000 of them got sent to the wrong zone, got sent up north instead of Zone 1 or something. I heard. I don't know if that's true or not.
But I don't know either. But
it's like.
Yeah, UPS is making the teams just look like liars and fools right now, and that's not a good thing, especially when you don't have participation, you have a lot of apathy, and so when these things continue to happen, it just weakens our fight, and the employers continue to do what they've been doing, and that's why the system has to change. It has to. The culture has to change.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
I just to thinking about it, but it is true that and that makes me wonder, and that kind of, and I've said this, and I've said this to Dave, I've probably said this on a past episode, but all that was said, and you know, I know there's more than just us, obviously, Teamsters cover all, but just speaking from what we're, you know, who we represent and what we're at, like I'd said that I don't like 2028 the way that I'm not saying, you know, obviously if stuff changes, but if stuff stayed like if it's like it was, if it's the same administration that was in, I was like, I thought 2028, what would they say to UPS? They're going to be like, oh shit, okay, sorry, let's do like what? I was like, they were going to just like. But anyway, I could harp on that, but yeah, I had said that like the way that this had went, and if it had stayed the same, I've never been a part of the negotiation, so I don't know. I'm just a member, but I just would say like I couldn't see them being like, what are they going to be worried about taking it to the street? They obviously violated 3 things that everybody knew was said. So what are they going to do? You know, why would they be worried about it? But anyways,
right. And on on the Lytix cameras. Now it's funny because I hear from different people, obviously, like, somebody will say, yeah, they really are recording the inside of the cab and the microphone is on and they can hear what you're recording. And then I'll hear other people say like, oh, they sent in a tech guy and the tech guy went through every camera and disabled the inward facing camera and the microphone. What have you heard or know anything about that, or is that is the company lying to us?
Company is straight up lying to you guys. And what I'm going to do after we get off this podcast, I'm going to send you 2 members of our slate who has done some extensive work on proving that the IBT just straight up did not do their job when it comes to these cameras. They have a brother on our state, Eric Johnson. He's out in the West Coast. And Mike Moxley, the president of Local 29 in Virginia. Both of them, along with some other people, done some extensive research and come to find out that everything the IBT has told us about these cameras, straight up falsehood. I mean, they got OSHA involved, they got NIOSH involved, and there's going to be some things coming out here soon where they're going to have to answer for. And I'll give you the information, and you can bring them on, and they can explain to it much better than I can about these cameras, because they did the work for I believe over a year that they did they paid for it out of their own pockets because they wanted to make sure that they had all of the facts. And now that they do, I think people need to know. There's some actual surveys out there that they put out there about these cameras to show people that, hey, your leadership lied to you yet again about this stuff. And they're trying to hide it. They don't want people to know. Again, education. They don't want to educate the membership because it holds them accountable. Leaders don't want accountability. They don't. And you see it. But yeah, I'll give you the information, man. You reach out to them, have them on the show, they can walk you through, because they studied the patents, they did all of that stuff. And it showed that, yeah, they're recording, and it's a health risk to our members. But I'll let them tell you that, because they're the experts, and I'll give you the information, and once you hear it, it's going to blow your mind.
All right.
I'll be looking forward to that one.
Yeah. No, that is crazy. Thank you for that. Another one here, kind of wrapping up here. Thank you for your time. I know we kind of went over a little bit.
No problem.
We're hustling through here. This one comes from. It looks like he's just trying. Looks like he might be trying to clear something up. So maybe some misunderstanding that he might have. But it says, and I'm reading it from him here. It says, respectfully, it said, 1, did the Fearless Slate fail to collect the needed petition signatures from the membership?
So the petitions to get on to get accreditation and to get certain things, as far as a magazine, as far as access to the membership list. So you need about 33, let's say 35,000 signatures. We were about 3,000 signatures short. And one of the main reasons why we were short is because we don't have the resources that, of course, the Oz campaign has. They have numerous amount of money, PR firms. I mean, they got it all. And that's the advantage that the incumbents have.
Right.
No disrespect or anything. It's just the way politics are set up.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It's much harder for the challenger to beat the incumbent, especially one who had, I mean, if you look at the LM2s and you see how much money these folks make, you will understand how they were able to do certain things.
Right.
And then you have this retaliation and intimidation aspect if you don't donate to their campaign. That's well documented. You can go check it out on IBT Vote. The members had to pay 3 members, Sean Ellis, Colleen Brady, and Miss Letty, all this money back in back pay because of them donating their money to another candidate. And so members are not stupid. They remember that. So do I donate to another campaign knowing I could lose my job, knowing they're going to retaliate? Because they've done it to a few of our supporters now. They've harassed them for donations. So we don't ask people for money because we understand what the administration may do to you. And also, it's kind of hard to ask people for money when their building is closing, it's closures,
Right.
and life is expensive. Yeah, we do need money, but I want to be respectful because I know what's going on. You sitting at the kitchen table and you wonder how you're going to make rent, mortgages, car payments, insurance. How do I look like asking you for the max out of $2,000? I wouldn't feel right,
Right.
you know, because I know it's a struggle right now. So we hit everybody we could as far as traveling, but there's rules and regulations. You can't spend all of your individual money. There's a cap, so you can't do that. You can't break the rules because you don't have the money, because they're looking for something like that to happen. No excuse, but it's just a reality. You know, we got close, but that does not disqualify us from being on the ballot. Now, you get on the ballot in June at the convention. That's really where you got to get on the ballot at, because nobody's on the ballot right now. Even though the I slate got their signatures, they're still not on the ballot. Because let's say a miracle happens and they get all the signatures, right? They get the convention and they don't get in the ballot. Guess what happens? You won't see them on the ballot and you don't vote for them.
Right.
So the most important thing is the convention, the delegates putting you on the ballot. So, and here's the other part. If you get on the ballot, your stuff does get into the magazine. So they have a head start with getting the information in the magazine and accreditation, but there's other ways that we're getting our information, going to the buildings, talking to members, having them sign up. So we still have the information. We just don't have access to it like they do.
Right.
So that's the difference between being accredited, getting the signatures. Doesn't disqualify us. Nobody's on the ballot right now. Nobody's going to be on the ballot officially until the delegate convention, and that's when you get put on the ballot if you get the delegates.
Awesome.
Well, I hope that works out in your favor and you get on there, man, because I just it really just here, like, just here with this last hour, I feel like it would be it would be just a jolt in a good way, just to put, like, I just, like, thinking about it now, you know, just it is, man, to have somebody that is so for the members, that not wanting to ask for money. And that's the thing that I hate that. And it's like you said, with with anything, if you're in any type of politics, money drives everything. And if you have, like, that, just unfortunately is just that's just a hard truth. And it's a shitty truth, but I hope it, and I hope it works out. I hope it does.
Yeah, I
And
appreciate that. Yeah, because I'm, like I said, no excuses. But I'm not going to put our members in harm's way, especially coming from our own
Right.
people. I think it's disrespectful for the current administration to go after people like that. And again, this is documented proof. You can go to the ibtvote.org and you will see everything I'm talking about. They have a history of intimidation and retaliating against people who do not go along with the get along. The members have to pay this money, and it is not right, because people have a right to vote for whoever they want to vote for. They have a right to choose. If they don't want to choose you, that's fine. They don't want to choose me, that's their right. But we shouldn't go after people because they donate to another candidate. I've seen far too many good people lose their jobs in this organization because they choose to donate to somebody else. And they were good, quality, wholesome, hardworking people. But because of somebody who wants to be a dictator, they're no longer working for the Teamsters, and that's just not right.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say with one other thing though, because it like there was something, and it's only happened, and everything that I'd get, as far as time off and pay, we've always accredited to being unionized and being in the Teamsters. But I remember the first time it's been a few years back, but I've always, knock on wood, I've not. The only time I've ever been off work for an extensive period of time was when my daughter was born, and it was like I'd gotten an extra week, and I'd taken 2 weeks off. But I mean, it wasn't like a big deal. It had got resolved, but I had gotten a letter because because I was off for a 2-week period in the month, that like my union dues were not like where, I didn't have enough paid or whatever. And like I said, it wasn't a big deal. I got it when I got my neck, because I didn't get it. I got the vacation checks, but I didn't get a paycheck for 2 weeks. So it was just a thing like that. But I remember even thinking like, man, I've done, that was, and I'm not saying that's one, I'm not putting that on any one person or just like, I don't know. I feel like everything you said, I've got this outlook that I just hope that it, being there almost 20 years, man, everybody in my local, I've got a solid one. I've always said we're good here, and we've always had people stand, I would never admire it, but it, just on a national front though, man, it would be, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. I don't have anything else. I think we covered quite a bit. One thing we do like to do for our guests though, and we always like to wrap it up and ask our guests if they have any questions for us.
So I guess I would ask the both of you brothers is, what would you like to see in leadership moving forward from the union? Like what would you want to see from your union?
Well, I'll go first, Luke. I mean, for mine, there's a lot of issues that I believe that go on, starting right up in the seats up at the hall and all that. And so I think there's a lot of stuff that's got to change up there. Just because, and I mean, I love what you said earlier about having trainings and, to help get people more knowledge for, filing grievances. Like you said, there's going to be a 30, 40-year-old driver that's never even seen a grievance before, and I truly believe that. And because, there's like, especially in my building, like there's a lot of intimidation, obviously, coming back from the higher ups there. And, a lot of people, there doesn't appear to be a lot of grievances coming through my building. And even for everybody, all the drivers that signed the 9-5 list, like, they just won't, because, it's like, oh, you're going to have a target on your back. And it's, and then that kind of shies them away from wanting to file a grievance. But it's the biggest thing I think is rallying everybody up together, because if you have 20, 25 drivers filing grievances, they can't go after all 20, 25 of them. You look, it's you're going to look like shit if it's just one or two people, you know what I mean? Like, cause like, then obviously yes, but if we can gather everybody together to come together and say, listen, we can do this. Like, that's what I really want to see change, just more than ever, is, I guess, like you said, the camaraderie of people coming together before, and, really being able to stand together and, kind of fight back.
And
yeah,
I mean, I was going to let Dave say what he wanted to on his because he's told me some stuff with his own. But for my local personally, I can't say a whole lot because it's overall pretty good. But the one thing that I can say is I feel like, so as I said, this in June will be 19 years since I'd started, and I had seen a couple times in my span, years back, of drivers, preloaders, if something happened or whatever, everybody in the building signing one grievance form, filing as a building to whatever it may be. And I don't know if that would happen today in my building 100% like it might have been 10, 15 years ago. But the only thing I could really say with my building is that I feel like maybe more of just kind of, I don't know. Our union, when we have meetings, they're literally right up the road from our center, so they make that pretty easy. But I feel like it's more of maybe to reach out more to, because I feel like our younger drivers don't get, like, I don't feel like they don't get exposed to our union officials like I used to. I feel like that's slacked off a lot here.
You talking about like hub
like
visits,
coming to the
center
hub
visits
and
from...
just checking, like, I can remember, like I said, 10, 15 years ago, whoever at our local, they would come in. I mean, it wouldn't be all the time, but just, pop in and say hello, check on everybody, see how everybody's doing, kind of thing. And just, I think that that presence isn't kind of what it was. So the future, like when I'm at 30, like when I'm about to retire, or I'm at 30 years in driving, I don't know what it'll look like then if that wouldn't, because I feel like other than that, I mean, it's pretty good my way. Everything if I've ever had an issue, and I've overall been I've always, I don't cause any, I try not to cause any trouble and do my job, but when I've had an issue, it's been resolved, and I can't, with the grievances I filed, they've been resolved and everything. So I can't complain much here, but other than that, maybe just more of a presence now, just for the young, like I said, for the younger members, because it's definitely not as much as it used to be. But that would be it on my end.
Mm-hmm. And like, I feel like too, like a lot, like you're mentioning, like the younger drivers, I feel like a lot of the younger drivers too, it seems that this generation coming in right now isn't really looking at the long game with UPS too. I feel like a lot of them are just focused on the now and not the future. A lot of them are just like, yeah, this is just a job, this, that, like, and then, those are the guys that are out there running and gunning their routes, that are burning the routes down, and all that. So like, I don't know if,
well, I feel like every industry had, it's almost, I think they're all going to have there's always going to be some employees that you can't reach, I suppose, but I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, awesome. This was awesome.
Yeah,
Richard,
we appreciate it so much
again for coming
on. I know
on
we
here,
went
man.
over, but
it's amazing.
We definitely we go.
This is
normally
fine.
when we have somebody on, normally it goes around an hour. Anyway, so we definitely appreciate your time and everything. I'm glad that I'm really glad we were able to work this out and checking.
Absolutely.
I know when we'd sent, because I don't remember when we'd sent that to your Instagram page. Was that like in the fall?
It was back in October.
I knew it would have been a bit. So yeah, that's.
I said, oh my God! Yeah,
I'm just so glad.
It's all good.
I'm so glad it worked out. But yeah, no worries, man. I'm just glad that we were able to get it on, man. This was great.
Last thing, Richard, where can people find you and the Fearless Slate?
So if you want to go on our website, is be-fearless.org. That's be-fearless.org. Come on the website, you'll see the entire slate. We just added a couple more people over the weekend, so I got to put them up on the website.
Awesome.
If you want to donate, you could donate on there as well. On Facebook, Teamsters Fearless Slate 2026 or the Fearless Slate. You want to check me out on my personal page, it's Richard Hooker Jr. We're on all social media platforms. And what I would just say really, really quickly, you don't have to be in this situation any longer. If you guys really want a change in the system that's bigger than the people that's running, because this is bigger than me, it's bigger than O'Brien. This is about kitchen table issues. How are we going to fight back against the devastation that is taking place right now against the Teamsters and the broader working class? Our members are losing their jobs, they're losing their incomes, and they're losing the way they can take care of their families. And so we need to have somebody who is not afraid, unapologetic, and wants to bring the entire working class together, not just Teamsters versus everybody, but Teamsters with everybody against the working class. So when you get your ballot in the mail, you don't have to worry about nobody seeing who you're voting for. There's no intimidation, no retaliation. If you are a delegate and you are going to the convention, when you get in that booth, nobody's going to be there but you and your maker. Nobody's going to see it. So you don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be scared. You can definitely be fearless in how you vote. So that's my spiel. I'm looking forward to this fight. I'm looking forward to the victory. And God bless everybody that's watching and listening.
Yes. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate you. Listen, don't hang up yet. We'd like to say goodbye off air, all right? So stand by here for us.
Okay.
Guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode here with Richard Hooker. Keep an eye out for his stuff. Go give them a follow. Go give Fearless a follow. Check out their website. All that great stuff. Richard, thank you again for coming on, buddy. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Man, wow. Richard Hooker Jr., everybody, from the Fearless Slate, looking to get on the ballot for general president of Teamsters.
I hope like hell everything we can do to help him do that. Dude,
Yeah.
that was an awesome just to hear somebody to talk like with that kind of passion towards like putting it towards what I loved the most of just like telling like straight up, you know, of all the stuff that like doesn't care, of all the stuff that divides so many people. You know what I mean? He the only thing that he objected, he didn't care if you voted for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. The only thing he said is if you didn't vote, you need to vote, which you do.
Right.
I mean, that's an important thing as an American citizen. But I just all that I like just to move past that. That has been a dream of mine that I've always said I hope one day I will live to see. But just within our work and like what we do and talking about like during COVID with the part-timers and, you know, helping them out because you're not just a Teamster on the clock. Like that's to hear somebody that is going to try to lead this thing nationally talk like that, dude, as a member, how can you not fucking just want to run through a fucking,
That's
like
what
you
I
said,
said.
run through a wall.
Like just his story and the way he was explaining things is just like, and then hearing him dig deeper into, you know, what he wants to do if he were to become general president of Teamsters. Like,
Yeah,
that
man.
is that, you know,
that was,
it's, and like what he was saying too is, you know, everything with O'Brien was, you know, he was saying, you know, this is a strike issue. SSDs are a strike issue. This, you know, this and that,
man.
and then nothing happens.
Right. I mean,
I love where Richard's head is at. with that.
Right.
You know?
Same.
Love it.
Because it was, I mean, and that was the thing. He said nothing. He didn't really, he said nothing bad of Sean O'Brien. I mean, I was the one that acknowledged that after, like, because that wasn't Hoffa in our contract year, the last one. He was long gone by then. So to say that, you know, I acknowledged it. I wanted to make sure I said that, and I'm sure like I said, I probably had said that on an episode or two prior. But yeah, us knowing, hearing strikeable offenses, and just how like it was, how intense it was at that contract. I mean, we knew we weren't recording the podcast in, but we were doing those YouTube videos and just getting fucking slaughtered on TikTok, and like just the I mean, dude, it was high emotional shit, and that and nothing happened. So yeah, I hope everything works out, and to keep in touch with Richard and everybody that
can't thank him enough.
Yeah, man, that was great. I'm glad he took the time.
Can't thank him enough.
I know.
Awesome. Guys, listen, like we said at the top here, if you want to be a Patreon member, help support this silly little show, go to patreon.com/AITDpod. Join the Discord as well. Find a Discord link and a Patreon link, both in the episode notes. Also, check out the Fearless Slate. Go give them a follow. Everything Richard said, all the social medias, go follow them on there. Check out their website as well. Can't thank Richard Hooker enough for coming on the show. Guys, I'm Dave. My co-host Luke. Everybody, be safe out there and get more knowledgeable about your contract, because that's what we all need to do to be able to fight back with our jobs, right? So everybody, be safe out there. We'll catch you all next week.
Later, everybody.